Let's get it. 580 Sports Talk is live and direct on a Thursday. We're so glad you're with us here on the Sports Voice of Kansas, 580 WIBW, FM 104.9, online at 580WIBW.com, on your mobile device, on the MSC Radio app, and on our YouTube channel, 580 Sports Talk. I am Dan Lucero. Spencer Dupuis is here as well. Coming to you following a Royals win, a Royals sweep. Don't let the boys in blue get hot. That's 5 in a row, 6 of the last 7. Boy, wouldn't it be wonderful to play the A's every week? That's sure how I feel after watching the Royals run roughshod over the Sacramento Athletics over the last 4 days at Kauffman Stadium. A dramatic 8th-inning rally yesterday, so a pair of wins in the Royals' final at bat in this series. Today, a 6-2 victory. You just heard it here on 580 WIBW and FM 104.9. We are short timing it today. We're with you until 6 o'clock, so we've got a lot to cram into this hour and 22 minutes from now till the end of the program today. Got some injury news from Chiefs camp. The Chiefs are insisting that it's not as bad as it sounds, or at the very least, they're not as concerned about it as it sounds like they maybe ought to be when it comes to Ashton Gillotte's injury. We'll talk about that. Plus, the worst of fears confirmed for K-State's best offensive lineman. We'll get to that a little bit later on in headlines. We'll hear from Andy Reid, who spoke today to wrap up training camp. So long, St. Joe. The party's over. Training camp officially for the Kansas City Chiefs in the books. And if Ashton Gillotte is the worst injury that the Chiefs are having to deal with coming out of training camp, with no disrespect to Gillotte in saying this, that's a successful training camp.
Yeah, it is.
So
probably the last time Travis Kelce practiced.
Might have been Travis's last go around there in St. Joe. Might have been. Might not have been. We've thought it might have been in the last 2 years, and it wasn't. So
that is true.
I'm not doing any more retirement tour stuff for Travis Kelce until he says he's done at this point. But we'll hear from Andy Reid a little bit later on in the show. And, of course, we've got another training camp report. We're still going to call them that, even though training camp is over. I guess we could change the name to the preseason report. But I like training camp report. And you're still, in effect, training for the season, so I think it still applies. But whatever we call it, it's our time to spend with the voice of the Chiefs, Mitch Holthus, coming up at 5:25, sponsored by Hy-Vee and Azure Credit Union, today's focused player. Felix Anudike-Uzomah. We'll get some exclusive thoughts from the former Kansas State Wildcat coming up again at 5:25 with our training camp report with the voice of the Chiefs, Mitch Holthus. So, a lot of Chiefs, a little bit of Royals reaction, and we want to hear from you if you're joining us today. You just heard that Royals game, or maybe you're just now tapping in with us. Send us a text. 785-272-9429 is the number. 785-272-9429. Can also interact with us in the live chat on our YouTube channel. Again, the name of that channel is 580 Sports Talk. Go subscribe to the YouTube channel today. Royals 6, A's 2. You just heard it. It was an old school game in one specific sense. It took 2 hours and 58 minutes. That qualifies as a marathon in the pitch clock era. This is the way it used to be. We always kind of figured in the old days, if there was a 1:10 first pitch at Coppin Stadium, we weren't coming on till 4:30, generally speaking, because the average length of game in Major League Baseball was right in there around 3 hours. And then the pitch clock came around and cut the time of a game, the average time of a game, down by about 20, 25 minutes. And so they're around 2.5 hours. So now you budget for the whole hour. We prepped 2 hours of show content for you today. We're only going to get to about an hour and a half of it. For what is wrong with you fans, apologies. Cut for time today. We'll have 2 new stories and crown a weekly champion on tomorrow's edition of the program. But the Royals do win the game somehow. Randy Dobnak kept punching his way off the ropes. Took him 96 pitches to navigate 4 innings, but they were 4 shutout innings despite 6 hits and 4 walks. Thanks in large part to the Athletics going 2 for 10 with runners in scoring position. That, of course, made Dobnak not eligible for the win, even though he departed on the plus side of a 5-0 score. Carlos Duran came in, and, well, that's why it's taking Carlos Duran a long time to get to the major leagues. Couldn't find the plate, walked 3. In fairness, it did not appear that it was a particularly easy day to find your grip. Duran had issues with the mound to the point where they had to come and get the grounds crew on it while he was out there. Just clearly wasn't comfortable, but also Duran's reputation as a bit of a wild man precedes him, and 3 walks, an inning and a third. 2 of those came around to score, but Connor Thomas, former Athletic, settled things down, got the final 2 outs of the 5th, allowing only 1 additional run to score, and then pitching a clean 6th to earn his first big league win. So Connor Thomas and Carlos Duran both getting their first major league wins in this series. Clean work from Craig Kimbrell, John Schreiber, and Nate Pearson ensued, and the Royals made that early lead stand up. Salvador Perez had 3 hits. Bobby Witt Jr. has been red hot. His average is up to 286. He had 2 hits, including his 16th home run that started the scoring. Michael Massey also threw out a 3-hit game. Isaac Collins drove in a pair. Nick Lofton also with an RBI in the win. Was a down note, however. Michael Garcia injured his hamstring running the bases in the first inning. It was a play where it was kind of a late send by Vance Wilson, and it looked like Garcia was decelerating and then tried to accelerate and then felt it grab right there in the back of his left hamstring. And that could have been a huge first inning for the Royals because Garcia would have scored pretty easily if he'd not come up lame. Instead was tagged out as he was just trying to kind of walk it off. He knew he didn't have enough to get back to third or all the way to home. Just one of those bad deals. Matt Quatrero saying after the game, it sounds like it's going to be an IL situation for Garcia, and you can probably just kind of write this year off as a lost one for Michael, which is a huge bummer. With that leadoff double, he'd probably nudged his OPS for the year above league average, at least according to OPS Plus. He's been worth close to 2 wins, according to B-War this year, despite having only played. Today was his 73rd game of the season. So still a really good player, even though the power's been down this year and the stolen bases have not been a part of his game the last couple of years the way they were when he went 37 for 39 on the bases in 2024. Garcia still, with his glove And with the consistency of his at-bats, he doesn't strike out a lot, puts the ball in play. He's a really good player. And you may lose sight of that because the offensive numbers aren't loud, and he hasn't been out there for about a huge chunk of the season and may miss now a chunk here, maybe the rest of it. Who knows? With hamstring injuries, those can be tricky.
Tough.
But for him to be nearly a 2-win player in playing less than half of a full big league season tells you how good he is and how important he is to the Royals' fortunes. And what a shame that we only really got to see, again, we talked about the A lineup being back for the Royals. We got it for 2.5 games because Cags hurt his ankle last night, didn't play today, and now Garcia's headed back to the IL. So what a bummer that is. What a severe bummer. Michael Garcia is really good, and I think that he is going to continue to be a really good player through the life of the contract extension that the Royals signed him to. Even only playing 72 games, he entered today, according to again Baseball Reference's wins above replacement calculation, the 6th most valuable Royal. Again, that's just half a season of work. So hopefully he can return before the end of the season. Hamstring injuries, you never know. But that certainly put a damper on what was otherwise a fun day at the ballpark for the 11,000 plus who made it out to the K, and a fun week of beating up on the worst team in baseball now with just 49 wins. They are the lone team in the majors not to have at least 50 in the win column, the Sacramento Athletics. And I don't know. I'd love to be able to take a lot of warm and fuzzies from this series, but like I keep coming back to the theme from the last couple of days, Spencer. This was more of a series where you go, man, at least we're not those guys.
Yeah.
and I think the Royals proved resoundingly that for whatever you think of them and the season that they have had, they are punching in a different weight class than that team. Which, I mean, it's not even just like that's a dramatically diminished A's team. No Nick Kurtz, no Shea Langoliers, no Tyler Stoner. That's their 3 best hitters.
Yeah.
Jacob Wilson is their 4th best hitter. He's not playing either. So that's their 4 best
didn't
guys.
they start off the season like pretty well?
They were 38 and 38.
Yeah.
They are now 49 and 79.
Crazy.
Again, if they had any fans left, I'm sure they'd be really upset. But like that is what you're supposed to do. If you're any kind of a big league team, you are supposed to do that to a team that is functionally a Pacific Coast League squad at this point, which is what the Athletics are. That's not even beating up on the best version of that team. I mean, for God's sake, Brian Servin is hitting 7th. He's not even good enough for the Rockies, who released him a couple of years ago. It tells you all you need to know about the A's. But
yeah,
winning's fun. Late inning rallies are fun. They had the walk-off on Tuesday. The 6th spot they put up, was it 6? No, 7. They put up 7 in the 8th yesterday. And even though it was a bit of a grind early on for Dobnak, it ended up being a pretty routine 6-2 Royals win today. We'll take a quick timeout. We'll come back. We'll wrap up this opening half hour-ish of 580 Sports Talk with the injury news from Chiefs camp. It sounds bad for Ashton Gillotte, but the Chiefs are more optimistic than it sounds like maybe they should be. We'll discuss why that might be the case. Plus, we've still got headlines. We've still got Mitch Holthus at 525. We're with you till 6 on this edition of 580 Sports Talk.
Weekday mornings at 7:32. Get your sports update from the award-winning 580 WIBW Sports Team.
.451 on 580 Sports Talk. We got a truncated edition of the program today following Royals baseball. We'll be with you until 6 o'clock. Later on in the 5 o'clock hour, we'll hear from Andy Reid, his final remarks from St. Joe as the Chiefs broke camp today. We saw the video of Ashton Gillotte's camp injury 2 days ago.
He looked really bad.
He had just gotten back from a hamstring injury. And it was, I think, his second day back. Might have even been his first, but I think it was his second day back. He landed awkwardly on a play. He had dropped back into coverage. He was covering, I think, it was Jared Wiley, and appeared to injure his right foot. And the way that he was grabbing at his heel and limping, I mean, first thing you think when you see somebody grabbing at their back of their foot and their heel, you think of an Achilles injury. But that's not what it is. That's the good news. It's been described and reported as a ruptured plantar fascia, which you've heard of plantar fasciitis, which is not a pleasant injury. The one that kind of tends to linger, one that kind of tends to need some kind of operation. And when you hear that anything is ruptured, you're prepared for the worst. I did my Googles. Did you do your Googles? Did you go?
I did. That's why when I
Dr.
first
Google?
I saw 3 to 6 months.
Dr. Google, right?
Yeah.
You went over to old Dr. Google and tried to find out, okay, what's the timeline on a ruptured plantar fascia? Long time. It's August 20th. 3 months would be November. 6 months would be March. And that's not a lot of football for a guy that the Chiefs are counting on to be a starter for them this year. But Nate Taylor of ESPN today, Chiefs reporter for ESPN, had this on social media. In their initial evaluation, I'm quoting, the Chiefs are optimistic that Gillotte, who ruptured his plantar fascia, could return in about 3 weeks. If his rehab goes well, Gillotte would have a chance to be available September 14th to play on opening night against the Broncos. So that's obviously best case scenario. It's hard to know how much weight the words could and if are doing there. Those are load-bearing words, and it's a load-bearing if there. But let's say it is a situation where he's going to miss some time. If he's got to start the season on IR, which is I don't think that's a crazy thing to think. Sort of feels like that's where we're headed with Omar Norman-Lott, which again, understandable. Big man coming off a torn ACL. Understandable that the Chiefs are slow playing with Omar Norman-Lott and making sure that he's all the way good to go before they start drilling him and get him back on the field. Well, if you don't have Gillotte or Omar Norman-Lott on opening night, you are left with George Karlaftis, Felix Anudike-Uzomah, R. Mason Thomas, and Emmanuel Ogbah at defensive end. Chris Jones, Kyrus Tonga, Peter Woods at defensive tackle. And then on the rest of your depth chart, a grand total of 3 games of NFL experience. All of them belonging to Tyreek Smith, former Ohio State Buckeye, who appeared in 3 NFL games all the way back in the year 2023. Has not played in an NFL game in 3 years. Marcus Harris, who looks like he's 5th on the DT depth chart right now, which makes him 4th with ONL on the PUP.
Yeah.
This is his 3rd year as a pro. He has not appeared in an NFL game. Everybody else on the depth chart's a UDFA. BJ Anthony, Ethan Herkett at end, Amari McNeil, Cole Brevard, and Damon Payne. That's really grim. Because one of those D tackles, Harris, McNeil, Brevard, Payne, right now that is a rotation spot if ONL isn't good to go for week 1. And that now looks, because I've said all along, like I really like the top 8. You can even say the top 9 with the addition of Emmanuel Ogbah, which thank goodness he's around.
Yeah.
But at
Give
depth
him some
already.
time to get up to speed.
Yes. But he better do it quick. Like,
Yeah.
he might not need much time. He'll know the system, which will be the nice thing about having a guy who's played for Spags, played for the Chiefs. But yeah, he better have been working out, because the Chiefs might wind up in a bad spot if they are forced to rely on a UDFA or somebody with very little NFL experience to be a rotation player on the defensive line right away. And like, we've been over the list of free agent defensive ends, defensive tackles, and I don't think they're luxury shopping. Like, I don't think they can go out and give the kind of money that Von Miller got. So I don't think like Joey Bosa is a realistic possibility, but they're going to have to add a body. I can't imagine a scenario where they don't have to go out and add somebody. I'm looking at this list, and well, they better be right. I hope they're right about Ashton Gillotte. That would be remarkable. That would be one of those hashtag built different moments. If a guy could come back from 3 weeks in an injury where
Yeah, I mean, it's just
WebMD says
yeah.
it's 6 months.
Yeah, I haven't even gotten on the old X train where that doctor who's horrible decides to tell me what I should
Quack
think.
David Chow, yeah.
Yeah, he always tells me what I should think. Although he did say it is possible for Patrick Mahomes to play week 1, like 6 months ago.
Well, broken clocks, right, twice a day, right?
That's true.
Coming up in the 5 o'clock hour, we got our 580 Sports Talk headlines. Talking to Mitch Holthus at 5:25. We'll hear from head coach Andy Reid. Before we get to the bottom of the hour, the end of the hour break, and our top of the hour news, want to tell you about the good folks at Eagle Auto Wash and Detailing Salon. It rained the last couple of days. Your car got rained on. You got to go get it cleaned up. Rain is not nature's car wash. Your car will remain dirty. I promise you this. Go get it cleaned up. The folks at Eagle Auto Wash and Detailing Salon, they care about how your cars look, because they care about how the roads in Topeka look, because they are locally owned and operated. They are a community-minded car wash. It's a great staff of people who care about your car and will treat it with the love and respect that you treat it with. So go see them and soar with the Eagle once a week as an Ultimate Wash Pass member. Eagle Auto Wash and Detailing Salon in Fairlawn Plaza in Topeka. Back with the 5 o'clock hour of 580 Sports Talk after the news on WIBW. Let's get it. Final hour of this Thursday edition of 580 Sports Talk. Boy, it feels like we've only just begun. Dan Lucero and Spencer Dupuis with you here on the Sports Voice of Kansas, 580 WIBW FM 104.9. Online at 580WIBW.com, on your mobile device, on the MSC radio app, and on YouTube. The name of the channel is 580 Sports Talk. We're with you until 6 o'clock. Came on a little late today following Royals baseball, but always happy to come on after a win. More so, even, to come on after a clean sweep. The Royals, they don't call it a sweep when you win 4. I think it was the guys from Cespedes Family Barbecue who picked up on this and started calling it something different. And Jake Eisenberg, because he's young.
Yeah.
He's one of the youths.
I think he's my age.
Yeah, he's Gen Z.
Maybe one or 2 years
He's older than you.
I think he's between Brennan and I.
Yeah, I think he's early 30s.
Yeah.
I would put him in his early Gen Z. He's a Gen Z kid. I call him a kid because I'm about to turn 40, and everybody younger than me is a kid now. That's how old I am. But anyhow, so he picks up on the internet lingo. So sweep if it's 3 games, but if it's 4, it's a mop. The Royals mopped the A's. Feel free to use that and add that to your sports and baseball vernacular. 4-game sweep, you need something bigger than just a broom. Yeah, mop. You mopped them if it was a 4-game sweep. Because that's easier to say than 4-game sweep, I guess. I
just said the rare 4-game sweep.
It is a rare 4-game sweep, especially when you're the Royals. But no, that's what we call them, the mop. Anyhow. So we discussed that a little bit in the opening hour of the program. Here in the 5 o'clock hour, we got our 580 Sports Talk headlines coming up. We have Mitch Holthus, the voice of the Chiefs, coming up. Yep, another training camp report brought to us by Assure Credit Union and Hy-Vee. Mitch Holthus, the voice of the Chiefs, will join us at 5:25 this afternoon. Today's player in the crosshairs, our featured player today, Felix Anudike-Uzomah. And I'll have to ask Mitch, in the wake of the Ashton Gillotte injury, though, again, the Chiefs are projecting optimism. At least they are using Nate Taylor to project that optimism about Gillotte's availability for the opener. We'll have to ask Mitch if that changes the status of Felix as a cherry on the Sunday guy, because all of a sudden he looks like a week 1 starter. And I think becomes much more of a necessity for Felix to take a step forward, if not to become a star. And that ship's probably sailed, but to be a starting caliber player in the NFL, which we have not seen in his first 3 seasons. Obviously didn't see him at all last year. He was hurt and out for the year. But we'll get Mitch's thoughts. We'll hear from Felix coming up at 5:25. We'll also hear from Andy Reid. He spoke to the media today on the final day of training camp. Again, the Chiefs, we outlined this, are one of only 4 NFL teams that don't have their training camp at their home facility. So these are guys who've been in St. Joe, Missouri for a month. I cannot imagine how good it's going to feel for those guys sleeping in their own beds tonight, man. That is that is going to be, for those veterans, for those guys who've, they're established and they've got like their residence out there in Kansas City or the surrounding area. Tonight's going to be a good night of sleep.
You know who's probably really happy too?
Travis Kelce?
Taylor Swift.
Well, sure. Well, maybe not. Maybe Taylor enjoyed having the house to herself.
Look, you get married, you go on your honeymoon, and then like 3 weeks later, your husband's gone for like 3 weeks, 4 weeks. Like
I feel like when you're in showbiz, you kind of understand that to be the drill.
Maybe he went on an off day, but Taylor probably did not go to St. Joe.
No.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I don't think Taylor is so allergic to normie stuff that she would never consider it. But I also don't think it was real high on her list of things to do.
Yeah.
Also, her husband's working. He's not there fooling around. He's there to work. He got to get right. Chiefs need him. Anyhow, that is coming up. We'll hear from Andy Reid. Your text, 785-272-9429 is the number, 785-272-9429. You can also interact with us in the live chat on our YouTube channel. Name of the channel is 580 Sports Talk. Who's in there with us today? We got a lot of
people.
Regulars, Christopher, Mark H., Mark B. in the chat today. I see Jeffrey, hello. It's great to see everybody involved in the live chat. Vance was in earlier as well. Great to hear from you guys. Look forward to hanging out with you here for these final 49 minutes of 580 Sports Talk. If you're not watching the show today, you're not subscribed to the YouTube channel, you want to get subscribed. 580 Sports Talk is the name of the channel. Subscription costs you nothing but a click or a tap of your screen. 1 week from yesterday, so the countdown is on, less than a week. We have got the Hot Wing Challenge. We have, and I'm going to wait to unveil when till such a time where I feel is appropriate. But we have a sponsor for the wing.
I already put a graphic on screen.
Well, look at you. All right. Well, if you're watching on the screen, Mr. Well, one thing about Spencer, he didn't use AI for that.
I did not.
Yeah, that's handmade.
Yeah,
that's
I will tell you what, I couldn't figure out what to do, so I went on AI and I said, show me what a good graphic would look like, and I said, all right, well, I'm not going to do that. I just wanted to make, because I didn't want to use what you people would think would be.
Mm-hmm.
So definitely no, but I used the power of editing skills, and I got us each to hold a wing.
Yes, I noticed that. Very clever.
Yeah.
The graphics up on our YouTube screen channel right now, if you want to see. It's Hooters. Hooters is providing the wings. Hooters with the best happy hour. We almost said happy meal. That's not even the right place.
No.
Happy hour. Best happy hour specials in town. It'll be, appropriately enough, during happy hour, 4 to 6. It'll be at 5:06, to be precise, next Wednesday. Spencer and I are going to do the Hot Wing Challenge as a thank you for our 1,000 subscribers. We got to coordinate with each other better on the dramatic reveals. I didn't realize you had the graphic done already. So, anyhow,
yeah,
that's coming up next week, next Wednesday, 5:06. You'll want to check that out. You'll want to watch us do it on our YouTube channel. Again, the name of the channel, 580 Sports Talk.
I think we're going to have to maybe phone a buddy here, phone a former 580 Sports Talk co-host, because the chat is asking him to be on this.
Oh, are they?
Yes.
Well,
I don't know if possible, but the chat is wanting it.
We'll see what we can do. Let's get to our 580 Sports Talk headlines. We got a couple to get to here. First, following up on something that we discussed on yesterday's program, there had been rumor and innuendo surrounding the injury to Kansas State left tackle John Pastore, who was last year an all-conference selection and was this year a preseason all-Big 12 choice on the offensive line, Kansas State's best and most experienced returning offensive line. Unfortunately, those rumors were, in fact, true that John Pastore will not play for Kansas State this season. The coordinators spoke in Manhattan today at press availability, but Colin Klein also made himself briefly available to confirm the injury status of both players who were the expected starting tackles for Kansas State this season. Here's Colin Klein.
Just got the confirmation with John Pastore. We'll have a season-ending lower leg injury. Incredibly unfortunate, very freak in nature, out of really anyone's control. That, again, everything he's gone through and the work that he put in to get himself ready to go, to not be able to play this year is very, very unfortunate. But we're going to be with him through the recovery process, and he's been an unbelievable teammate as well through it. As far as the future and kind of what that looks like, this is why we've cross-trained a lot of guys since the minute we got here too, and so, I think Ryan Howard, Tyler Johnson, Oliver Miller are all going to be in the mix and have a couple different combinations that we feel very, very good about and excited to see what we can put on the field. So.
Not the Ryan Howard that won the National League Most Valuable Player for the Philadelphia Phillies. No, that Ryan Howard will, if he wants to know what it's like to have to fill in at an important position on offense for Kansas State in a time of need, he can always ask his older brother. So no John Pastore for Kansas State this year. Huge, huge disappointment. George Fitzpatrick, who was, of course, still in recovery from the heat stroke that was devastating to him physically last year and cost him last season. They are also confirmed today that they're going to hold him out this year as well, and that it's just not going to be possible right now for him to return to the football field. And obviously, Pastore was written in pen. I think a lot of people had Fitzpatrick penciled in at right tackle. So the Wildcats are going to need other solutions at the tackle spots in 2026. Rough news, and sometimes the internet's on something before the rest of us for a reason. You never want to go to press or go to print with rumors, but unfortunately, this was one of those instances where the grapevine was singing in tune. With regards to Pastore's injury. So that's our first headline today. Spencer, give me a headline.
Yeah, this is a positive coming out of Kansas State camp. The preseason watch lists are continuing to come out for the awards given out across college football. And today, the Golden Arm Award preseason watch list came out. That's presented the nation's top collegiate quarterback. And Avery Johnson is on the preseason watch list for that. And if you thought that award, you maybe heard it before, it's because his now head coach, Colin Klein, won the award in 2012 while at K-State.
And there you have it. So Avery Johnson, a candidate as watch list season winds down. We got real games in 9 days. 9 days.
Week 0.
Real football games. And, we get TCU, North Carolina. And if you thought North Carolina would be the biggest dumpster fire heading into that game, remember that headline we gave you from TCU? Apparently, the guy that the safety Fields that he punched isn't going to be able to play, and he's their leading returning wide receiver.
Wow.
Yeah, one of their better wide receivers. So, Sonny Dykes' locker room having some issues too. That'll be an interesting way to open up the 2026 college football season. Speaking of college football, next headline. The ruling last night in a Louisiana state court has granted a temporary restraining order to allow former college football players to return to college for one more season. There are 16 football players among 33 athletes from a variety of sports who had filed a class action suit against the NCAA in Louisiana State Court. What makes this group of players who have now regained their eligibility interesting is that many of them are in NFL camps right now. One of them, former LSU linebacker Jack Pyburn, had 2 sacks for the Buccaneers in their preseason opener against the Jets. Also active on 90-man rosters, Daquan Wright, formerly of Ole Miss, who's with the Browns right now. Wydett Williams, also of Ole Miss, playing for the Cardinals. And former Oregon State running back Anthony Hankerson is listed on the Seahawks roster as well. So these players have expressed an interest in being released from their NFL contracts.
Because they'll make more in college.
They know they're not making their NFL teams, although there have been a lot of running back injuries for the Seahawks. So maybe Anthony Hankerson might want to just see what develops there.
Okay,
if their NFL teams release them by September 1st, they will be allowed to join a college roster under the restraining order. It also there has also been a reopening of the transfer portal for players who have been granted an additional year, and 7 former players have entered their names in the portal. SMU running back TJ Harden, the aforementioned Daquan Wright, and Xavier Harris, both from Ole Miss. Linebacker Trent Hendrick from James Madison. Cornerback Ethan Johnson from App State. Offensive lineman Waylon Lapuaho from BYU. And kicker Luke Drzwicki, I did not get that right, from New Mexico. Brother, go sell insurance!
Yeah. Speaking of the transfer
UPS is hiring.
Speaking of the transfer portal, Colin Klein said in other words, that they were going to look into it for their offensive line.
I mean, they might have to, right?
Yeah.
You know, they're looking at starting.
He said that's an hour-by-hour thing of deciding if they want to or not.
So the player we talked about yesterday who didn't practice, Tanner Morley, the Colorado State transfer who's a projected left guard, we didn't get an update on him today, which could be good or bad.
Yeah.
It could be
he hasn't gotten an update.
Could be, yeah, there's no news because there's no news. It could also be like, it's not really that notable. He'll be fine. He's just working through some stuff, and they expect him to be out there. But I'll tell you what, if they've got a hole at guard, they could do a lot worse than Waylon Lepuaho. He started for BYU last year. He's 6'4", 310.
Yeah.
I'd be on the horn with his people. That's for sure. But it's not as simple, right? It's not like, we'll just put a guy in IR, and that opens up a scholarship. No, not how it works. You either have the room or you don't have the room. I don't know if K-State's got the room.
Yeah.
But that's for them to find out. Yeah. Anyway, give us another headline.
Yes. So people were hating on this because of it being kind of out of nowhere. But back before Big 12 Media Days, the Big 12 announced that Monster Energy would sign a sponsorship deal with Big 12, and they would coordinate with the seasons of college football and basketball, and they'd be on the field and on the jerseys.
$20 million.
$20 million. Yeah. Well, a group of doctors and scientists sent letters to the Big 12 chair and NCAA officials this month asking to pause the youth-facing activation of the Monster Energy sponsorship. The Big 12 obviously announced that. The petition cites 3 teenage deaths linked to cardiac events after consuming energy drinks as part of its health concerns. The group requests 3 actions: pause youth-oriented branding, commission an independent health review covering pediatrics and cardiovascular medicine, and bring the issue before the Big 12 board before the branding is embedded. Big 12 games obviously see a lot of people watching. There's a lot of exposure with that. And
I'm sure
doctors aren't liking it.
I'm sure Doug Girard's eyes rolled so hard they fell out of their sockets. The Big 12 statement in response given to USA Today, who requested a statement. The energy drink category is not new to collegiate athletics. Category leaders in the space continue to be active and aggressive in seeking opportunities to partner with and engage college sports fans. For me, the funniest detail of this is 2 of the members of this group who've made this petition are parents and alumni of BYU.
Wonder why.
Which,
no sugar.
Ask the Mormons how they feel about caffeine.
Yeah.
Anyhow. One more headline to get to. This is a cool one. We are monitoring the professional sports franchise of Topeka, Kansas, Gary Woodland, as he continues play in the FedEx Cup playoffs on the PGA Tour, trying to qualify for the Tour Championship for the first time since 2019. To do so, he'll have to get into the top 30 of the FedEx Cup point standings. He's right on the bubble at number 31 entering the week. Day 1, just about in the books at Belle Reve Country Club in St. Louis, Missouri at the BMW Championship. And G-Dubs in a 5-way tie for first, a first-round 64 for Woodland today, including a hole out from 97 yards out on the par 4 11th for Eagle. Woodland got it as low as 7 under par. Unfortunately, bogeyed the par 4 18th to give one back, but currently sits at 6 under par for the tournament in a tie with Wyndham Clark, Rory McIlroy, J.J. Spawn, and Chris Gotterup. So 3 guys that have won a major within the last 2 years, and Gotterup, who, he's no slouch. He's really good. Ryo Hisatune is a shot back at 5 under par. Group at 4 under par includes Ludwig Oberg, Alex Fitzpatrick, Matt Fitzpatrick, who's still on the course, Michael Thorbjornsen, and Jacob Bridgman, who is also still playing. Tough day for Scotty Scheffler, the world number 1, 2 over through 17. There are currently 31 players under par in the field of 50. Again, top 30 in the point standings get to the Tour Championship next week. Here's another fun fact about Gary Woodland and Belle Reve. We all know G-Dub won the U.S. Open in 2019. His second best finish at a major ever, a tie for 6th at the 2018 PGA Championship held at Belle Reve. He was the leader through 2 days, but kind of got stuck in neutral on the weekend, finished in a tie for 6th. Brooke Koepka was the winner that year. Those are your headlines. When we come back, Mitch Holthus, the voice of the Chiefs, joins us for a training camp report on 580 Sports Talk.
For sports talk in Topeka, there's only one destination. 580 Sports Talk.
527 on 580 Sports Talk, and once again, we are joined by the voice of the Kansas City Chiefs, Mitch Holthus, for today's training camp report on 580 Sports Talk. Brought to us by Hy-Vee. The world's best tailgating begins at Hy-Vee, proud official sponsor of the Kansas City Chiefs, and by Azura Credit Union. Visit with the Azura Credit Union Home Loans team. Mitch, final day in St. Joe today, and I got to imagine that today with a lot of emotion and a lot of excitement to be done with training camp, to have checked that box, and to be that much closer on the checkpoint on the way station to another NFL season.
Yeah, it was an emotional day. I'll just be honest with you. You saw my post on X/old Twitter. I waited at the bottom of the hill for Kels. He always comes in late. He's the last guy. And I just gave him a fist pump and we exchanged glances and thought 14 camps with that guy, 14, and over 12,000 snaps. And then to have the military there and represented. I always love it because we'll have, I didn't see him today, but usually the Coast Guard is there. The Coast Guard Pace Center's in Topeka. And so that's always cool to see members of the Coast Guard as part of the contingent. And then I'll just give you a Topeka tie-in. I believe he went to Shawnee Heights, but John Williams was there, and when we lived in Silver Lake for 21 years, we worshiped in Topeka. And John had enlisted 3 days before 9/11. So it was September the 8th, 2001, and he decided to enlist in the Air Force. And then 3 days later, 9/11 happened, and his life changed. And that enlistment looked vastly different. And he's worked, I believe, different places, including the 190th Refueling out at Forbes. But he's been deployed and was involved in some of the action. And so, but he saw him today, and I don't think I've seen him in probably 25 or 26 years, and it was kind of an emotional moment. He talked about, I didn't remember this, but my wife Tammy, and he prayed over him as he was getting ready right after 9/11. And so it was that kind of day. We had Marines there, and we had Navy people there, and of course a lot of Army. But if you think about the great military installations and the important military installations within 300 kilometers of Arrowhead Stadium, and some really close, like Whiteman Air Force Base, home of the B-2, and the A-10 wings, they were represented there. Fort Riley with the Big Red 1, the 1st Infantry Division, and the impact that they have. The Command General Staff College, the West Point of West Point, where we train not only our colonels and generals to be, but our allies. That's at Fort Leavenworth. And McConnell Air Force Base in Wichita. I don't leave anybody out here. But the point is there are some incredibly important military installations for the world that are right in your signal. And they're represented on this day. And so it's, it puts everything in perspective.
Very, very cool. Thank you for sharing that story with us, Mitch. And now we're going to share the story of Felix Anudike-Uzomah, who's our featured player today on this training camp report. And everybody rooted for Felix coming out of college. The hometown kid, the first-round pick at the draft in Kansas City, the former Kansas State Wildcat and Big 12 Defensive Lineman of the Year, hasn't clicked for him as a pro. 2 seasons where his production was a bit underwhelming, and then last year, of course, with the injury, he did not get on the field at all. Chiefs did not pick up his 5th-year option as a first-round pick. This is a huge year for him, but he's responded in the best way that he can respond for now by all accounts, Mitch, having his best training camp as a pro.
He injured his thumb. I think he broke his thumb in the Sugar Bowl, remember, against Alabama after K-State had won the 22 Big 12 title. And that really slowed down his onboarding to the NFL and to the Chiefs. And so that offseason just wasn't what you wanted from a guy that you wanted to be a first-round pick and make a big influence. Now, in the 2 years that he's played 34 games, and he's had moments, 3 sacks, 2 forced fumbles, fumble recovery. But when you get the first-round pick on you, there's a high expectation. You mentioned missing all of last year. Well, now it's different. Now he's getting a chance in Ashton Gillotte, who missed with a hamstring injury earlier in camp, now has a ruptured plantar fascia. So what that means is Felix Anudike-Uzomah is not only getting his own reps, he's getting Gillotte's reps. And so you said it's an important time, an important year. It's an important camp, important week, and Saturday's important for Felix. So I asked him, just trying to get a bearing on where he's at, and he's really in a pretty good spot.
The league was about opportunities, but it seems like now you're getting a great opportunity, a lot of first-team reps. What does that mean in your ability to lock something down?
Oh, for sure. I mean, how I view it, I don't look at it like one of the reps. I look at just getting better every day, doing exactly what I need to do from Spags and everybody else. And then from that, if I play full speed, everything will take apart. So just focus on the little things at first and not the big picture.
What's exciting is your room. Who's been added there, and the blend of you guys working together with the vets and the new guys. What are you seeing in that room and how explosive it can be?
Oh, these guys are phenomenal. We got a phenomenal edge. Like R. Mason, he's a great bend. Peter Woods, very strong. He's very flexible and everything like that. And we just got a bunch of guys that want to learn and stuff like that. So it's a very good room, even with Chris and George leading it off. And we just basically coaching up the young guys and telling them how it is, how the Super Bowl winning team, how we practice and everything like that. But it's been a role. It's been good, honestly. And I'm excited for the season.
He's had the best camp he's had yet. And his mindset, you can hear in that clip, is as good as it's been. But now, Dan, he's getting the chance he's waited for. Now, one thing I've seen and what he has to do, Gillotte is a big key to this season because he can move inside and out. We can see him turn his hips and drop into coverage. And so, again, Felix has a chance, but he almost has to become two people. He has to be himself, but he also has to become a bit of a version of Ashton Gillotte and what Spags wants to do with that kind of wild card spot. Big time. He's getting this chance, so it's now up to Felix to make the most of it.
Mitch Holthus, the voice of the Kansas City Chiefs, joining us here for this training camp report brought to us by Hy-Vee and Azura Credit Union on 580 Sports Talk. Andy Reid and Steve Spagnuolo have both mentioned during training camp that one of the aspects they've noticed Felix improving on as a player has been his get off, his first step, his ability to react to the snap and be quick off the ball. And obviously, you're quick off the ball, gives you a chance to beat your guy one-on-one. But beyond that aspect of his game, what are the things that he needs to bring to the table? And you kind of spoke to it a little bit towards the tail end of your last answer there. But the things that he's going to need to bring to his game to make sure that he is a steady presence and a contributing presence at that defensive end spot. The things that the Chiefs will hope to get out of him, because, you know, they don't ask the same from him that they ask from George Karlaftis, and they don't ask the same from him that they ask from R. Mason Thomas, different players. But what are they going to ask from Felix, and what is he going to have to bring?
Well, and part of the question to him and his answer, which was a good answer, it wasn't a selfish answer at all, was who surrounds him. And so he doesn't have to be R. Mason Thomas. He doesn't have to be Karlaftis. He doesn't have to be Peter Woods. He has to be Felix and a little bit of Ashton Gillotte. So the fact that he has to play, if called upon, a two-gap look inside, meaning you've got to defend a gap, maybe two, or move to the outside shoulder and get enough of a rush. He had a pass tipped in the game against the Rams on Saturday, kind of an overlooked play. And he almost had an interception because he dropped his hips into coverage. So when Felix was at K-State and he came out of Lee Summit, he was like a zero-star recruit. And he was really small when he got to K-State. Then he developed, but he's always been an athlete. And you mentioned defensive lineman of the year. He was so quick off the ball, whether he lined up inside or outside, because K-State moved him around too. So he's got athleticism. Now he's bulked up, but the fact that he's got some power in his game because he's fully healthy. He's had lower body and upper body issues, but he's just feeling great. I think that's part of his good attitude. But he's got to be able to do everything. And so he's going to be asked to do more than Karlaftis, more than Peter Woods, more than an R. Mason Thomas, because he has to be Ashton Gillotte. And that is playing inside, outside, drop into coverage. Oh, when you're asked to go get it, either get a sack or influence the play, like I talked about on the very first reports, where you affect the physics of the throw or knock down a pass. That's what Felix has to do. He doesn't have to be a 15 sack guy. He just has to do those things, and if he does, he will help the Chiefs win this year.
Do you think that the weight of expectations of being a first-round pick were maybe difficult on Felix early in his career? Does he maybe feel a freedom from that, or the Chiefs hope that they can help him to feel a freedom from those expectations as he enters this fourth year as a guy who is no longer the young guy, is no longer the high draft pick on the defensive line? Is that something that he's mindful of, that the Chiefs are mindful of, trying to ease that particular burden on him?
It's similar to you or I, though, getting the job of our dreams and having a sore throat and laryngitis the first week on the job, and you're supposed to do the big game. And you're like, well, this isn't the real me. But they're going, we paid you a lot of money. This is a big deal that we hired you to do these games or be on sports talk, and you're not doing the level that we thought. Where you're going, well, wait a minute, I don't feel good. I think that's a good parallel. He just didn't feel great that first year. That's not an excuse. It's just that when you're a first-round pick, think of Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Think of any first-round pick, especially when you're announced in Kansas City, in your hometown, in where you were a regional star and well-loved and led a K-State to a Big 12 championship. And, that's a lot to put on him. And then to do it injured and try to fight through that. And so where I think he's at now, and this is your answer, I don't know if the team has done it. I think they just told him relax and play. But he's relaxed. He's not trying to play to be a first-round draft pick. He's not playing to anybody's expectations. It's like, the heck with that. I'm going to do what I can do to help this team win. And that's why when I sat down and talked to him, and you heard it in the clip, you heard it in that answer. He's comfortable right now in his own skin, and he's ready to play. And he's done some good things, but he's not living up to any expectation. And if somebody has that on him, it's fair in some instances, but he doesn't care. He's just going to play and help the Chiefs win and see where it's at the end of the year. And I just think it's a really good mindset for him to have. And the guys like him. He's well liked in the room. He has influence in the room. He's been able to talk to and have influence, and they ask R. Mason asks some questions, and so does Peter Woods. And so he's kind of the elder statesman. There's these tiers of guys where you've got George and Chris, and then you've got the next group of guys, which is you look at Felix is in that category, and even a Gillotte. But then you've got the rookies who are going to be impact players. And so Felix is kind of a two-way conduit here. But he knows where he's at. He knows who he is. He knows what he can do. And that's why I think it's really encouraging for him and where he's going to be fruitful this year.
Mitch Holthus' training camp reports on 580 Sports Talk are brought to us by Hy-Vee. The world's best tailgating begins at Hy-Vee, proud official sponsor of the Kansas City Chiefs. And by Azure Credit Union, where you can visit with the Azure Credit Union Home Loans team. Mitch, sure you'll be en route to Tampa this time tomorrow, but you'll have a checklist for us, I presume, for preseason game number 2.
I will. I'll record that before I leave and send it to you. But we'll go down the line of where this Tampa Bay game is important, including Felix Anudike-Uzomah. He's going to play a lot of snaps. He'll be up against the ones of Tampa for a good portion of the game. And so good test for Felix to see and check out this positive mindset that he's got.
We'll look forward to it. Safe travels, Mitch.
All right, thank you, guys.
That is Mitch Holthus. A reminder that tomorrow's preseason game, Saturday's preseason game for the Kansas City Chiefs will be heard on our sister station, the Big 94.5 Country. It's a 6 o'clock kick in Tampa Bay, 6 o'clock Central Time, 7 o'clock local time out there in Tampa. But a 5 p.m. pregame on the Chiefs radio network and a 6 o'clock kick, you'll be able to hear that over on our sister station, the Big 94.5 Country, with Mitch Holthus and Dana Hughes in the broadcast booth. We'll take a time out here on 580 Sports Talk. When we come back, we'll hear from Andy Reid, his parting shot from St. Joe as training camp came to an end today here on 580 Sports Talk.
It's 580 Sports Talk on 580 WIBW. Text the program at 785-272-9429.
Training camp is in the books for the Kansas City Chiefs. They depart St. Joe today. Some lucky fan got Xavier Worthy's Xbox. You were telling me about this. Apparently that's
apparently it's a new thing it's a thing that's now becoming a tradition because, he's only been in the league a few years now.
So he doesn't pack his own Xbox.
That's what it appears, because he doesn't give them an Xbox, a brand new in a box. Mm-hmm. He walks down with like cords wrapped around the Xbox and he hands it to a kid.
So he goes and he buys an Xbox for the month. I mean, it must be nice to have that kind of disposable income. That's first round draft pick disposable income right there.
Yep.
And gifts the lucky fan an Xbox. We'll see once those start costing like $1,000 next year. We'll see if he continues to or if he just decides, man, I maybe bring mine from home. Andy Reid, to the best of my knowledge, not an Xbox guy, but he did speak to the media after practice, the final practice in St. Joe today. Here's Big Red.
Great to have the military out here. Appreciate everything they do for us so we can do what we do, all of us, in this tent included, right? So, and then we appreciate the people here at Missouri Western State University, St. Joe. They took great care of us. Everything from food to making our beds to cleaning our rooms, and that can be a chore, I know, with some of my guys. But they do a great job of helping us out, and we appreciate their hospitality. With that, the way the quarterbacks will play this week, we'll go a quarter and a half with Justin, a quarter and a half with Garrett, and Chris will take the fourth quarter. It'll be somewhere in that area. Don't hold me to the play on that, but that's kind of going in. That's a rough itinerary, and then the rest of the guys will follow that schedule. So, as far as injuries go, Jack Cochran and Connor tried it today. We backed off them. Just they will not play. Caldwell with his hyperextended knee, he won't play. Gelati has a plantar fascia that ruptured. He won't play. Holiday won't play, and Simmons and Trey won't play on the offensive line. The rest of the guys will get up and have an opportunity to get out there and do some things and we'll see how playtime goes as we go through this thing. All right.
Andy, just your biggest takeaways from camp this year?
Yeah, I'll tell you, they worked. They worked hard, and I appreciated that. I thought we made progress. I mentioned before, I think it's the young guys that you're really looking at here. We have a number of them, and how they progressed and continue to progress will be a big part of this, how this team does. So, but I appreciate the way they went about their business. You have examples like Kels, who he's the oldest guy on the team and came out every day. I mean, and worked to where you had to yank him out of there and to give him a breather. But and then Pat doing what he did with his knee and didn't miss a day. And Chris Jones, Bolton. I mean, these guys. You have leadership like that. That's important. And the guys I thought followed right along with him.
Speaking of, he's been here since he got here in 2013. What kind of foundational pieces he's been to you with each training team?
Yeah, no, he's great. I mean, his attitude's great. He gets on guys. He's not afraid to do that. He brings energy. He knows when to cut it loose a little bit and have some fun. And then, he likes to give EB the business, and that's always entertaining too. So it keeps everybody on their toes.
Coach, you mentioned last week with the other injuries that there wasn't anything significant, but anything with the newer ones with Josh, Gelati, particularly?
Yeah, they're not. These aren't like extended injuries. They'll be back and just nicks and bruises type thing. So they're working through them, and they'll be back in and going.
Feeling good about Trey. We saw him doing boxes.
Yeah. No, Trey's he's making progress. So yeah.
Coach, who jumped out at you? Are there some names of young guys that really stood out in your mind as you break camp?
Yeah, I mean, you could take that rookie class and look at them. I mean, they all, I thought, had their day, and they've added some consistency to their game. We always talk about stacking days and improving every day. Find one thing you can work on to get better at. All those things. I thought they handled that and tried to do that. So. But I mean, you can take that whole class there, and I'd give them a thumbs up on how they went about their business.
Andy, I know you said Patrick's not going to play this weekend. Is there any consideration to having him take maybe a series in the preseason finale? Is there been any discussions about that? Just get him.
Nate, if you want him to do that, we'll put him in. Now we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Yeah, we'll see how it goes.
Andy, you got to spend some time watching football across town here. St. Joseph Goats game a couple weeks ago. How cool was that? You get to see Deontay Smith, former Chief, and just getting to catch all that in.
Yeah, Boo Smith. Yeah, it was fun to watch. Steve Craig, I know, is a big part of this community, and he takes a lot of pride in that team. And I love the show. It was great. I would have liked that the air conditioners didn't break in the building, but that's all right. It kept it football. It was a hot day out here, and we just continued on with the day there. So, but congratulations to them for winning the championship. That's doesn't matter what level you're at; it's a championship, and they were the best at what they did. And my hat goes off to them. But it was fun, yeah. With the exception of getting hit in the head with the ball, it was good.
Andy Reid talking about going to the arena football championship game out there in St. Joe. Got to kill time.
Isn't that team co-owned by Jason Kelsey?
Garage Beer is involved.
Okay, because he was at camp yesterday.
Yeah, Jason was there. Jason was hanging out. I don't know exactly what the particulars are on the
what's their name?
The Goats. Are they the Goats?
Joe's Goats?
Yeah, the St. Joe Goats. Yeah, St. Joseph Goats.
Interesting name.
Yeah?
Yeah, Jason and Travis Kelsey both co-own them.
Yeah, Garage Beer.
Along with Christian Okoye?
Christian Okoye. It's the Nigerian Nightmare.
Yes.
Yeah.
Former Chief.
Yes. Former Chief.
Legendary Chief.
Yes.
Legend leader in 1989.
Legendary
Hall of
Tecmo
Famer.
Bowl player.
Chiefs Hall of Famer.
Yes. I did not realize that that the St. Joe Goats had won the championship, but I also didn't realize that among their players is a guy I saw play in college because he played against my alma mater, which means that guy's been playing football for a very long time.
There's a Marshall alum on this team.
Yeah, your boy Rakeem Cato.
Rakeem Cato, one of the best quarterbacks in the country.
Your boy Rakeem Cato.
The 2012-14 time frame.
And shout out to Larry Beavers of Wesley College. He was a dude.
The only two
in Division III. Let me tell you, that guy was a dude.
The only two players with wiki pages on this roster.
Very funny. We'll take a break. Come back with a final word to wrap up 580 Sports Talk.
Follow the show on X and Blue Sky at 580 Sports Talk.
Putting a wrap on this shortened 580 Sports Talk. Spencer's going to go home and watch Christian Okoye highlights, get himself educated. Shout out to the texter who remembered beating his brother 77-0 on Super Tecmo Bowl with Christian Okoye and the Chiefs.
In my defense, I wasn't born.
Yes, you were not born. That is an entirely reasonable defense. I'm just telling you.
Like, it's not my growing up team.
Christian Okoye wore shoulder pads the size of like small boulders. That was back in like the huge shoulder pads days. You could put a Christmas ham inside the shoulder pads that Christian Okoye was wearing. And he had one of the all-time great nicknames in NFL history, the Nigerian Nightmare.
Yeah.
Doesn't get much better than that. Let's get a final word, Spencer.
Yeah, a little two-parter here. First part, man, I feel for John Pastore.
Yeah.
Preseason all Big 12 player, had that, that bright light on the offensive line for him, and hopefully it's a speedy recovery for him. Also, other final word, it is National Radio Day. Dan, happy National Radio Day.
Oh, thank you.
It's such a pleasure to be able to meet all the people that I have through radio and, be on in Topeka. And, I drove halfway across the country, didn't know anybody, decided to do this, and happy to still be on the air here. Happy National Radio Day.
Radio has it's given me a life. I mean, I've been doing this for 18 years in 4 different states at a whole bunch of different radio stations and frequencies, and without this life, I never make it here. I never meet my wife. I'm so grateful for the career I have. So yeah, absolutely. Happy National Radio Day. We're still kicking. They said radio was dying back when I was in college, and not dead yet. We're still kicking. Final word for me today. Fun to see the Royals mop the Athletics this week. Bare minimum what they ought to do to that sorry team, but fun to see him. Fun to see Bobby Witt Jr. getting hot as well. We're back tomorrow from 3 to 6. For Spencer, I'm Dan. This was 580 Sports Talk.